once you find yourself, you can overcome any obstacle. So how to find yourself? Well, first of all, it's not so much that you overcome obstacles in that if you find yourself, you're going to automatically go from being the window washer to being the CEO. That if your obstacle were, I'm not the CEO yet, that somehow finding yourself is going to make that happen. What will happen instead is being the window washer is going to be an okay thing to be. Because who you are is divine consciousness. Who you are is love. Who you are is peace. And whether you're washing windows or bossing other people around or balancing the finances or distributing mail, whatever you're doing, it all is the okay thing to do. And so it doesn't remove the obstacles as in it pushes me ahead, but it removes the obstacles that or it removes what I think are obstacles. The real obstacle is my mind. My mind that says CEO better than window washer. It removes that. How do you find yourself? Well, there's a lot of ways. They all are focused inward. The path of meditation is the most traditional path, the most common path. It's that which we're told over and over again by leaders of so many different traditions. Mystics, the enlightened ones, the masters have said, meditate, meditate, meditate. Because what it does is, it closes the outside world for a while, and it opens the inner world. And the truth of who we are, see, the nice thing is, it's you. So it's not like I gave you a science equation and I said, okay, sit here and figure this out. And you could rack your brains and pull out your hair, and maybe you could do it if you had taken those classes and remembered the equations. And if you hadn't taken those classes and didn't know those equations, you wouldn't be able to figure it out. This is you. And so it's not taking you into outer space to learn about something outside. It's taking you into the inner space. And because it's you, it doesn't require any special skill. It doesn't require any special prerequisite. It doesn't require anything except a real, deep and concerted yearning to know the truth of who you are. There's a wonderful story of a disciple who goes to his guru and says, I've been on this spiritual path for such a long time, and I'm still not getting awakened. I'm still not seeing the truth. I'm not self-realized, God-realized. Why? I'm your disciple. You're my guru. Why? And the guru says, well, when you meditate, what happens? And the guy says, oh my God, so many thoughts come, and I can't focus, the thoughts come. So the guru says, come with me. And they walk out to a nearby river. And the guru says, get in the river. The guy's like, but it's the guru, so he goes in the river. And the guru holds his head under the water, literally suffocates him. And the man is thrashing around in the river. And the guru keeps holding him down. And the man thinks he's going to die. And finally, literally at the last minute before this guy really drowns, the guru pulls him up out of the water. And after the disciple finally catches his breath, and the guru says to him, so what were you thinking about down there? And the man says, air. And the guru says, did your mind wander? The man's like, no. And the guru says, when you want God, as much as you wanted air down there, the wandering mind will stop. Now, that's a tough ideal. Very few of us are able to want God the way a drowning man wants air. But even if it's not quite to that extent, as long as you're able to be sincere and full of more yearning for this than anything else that you can think of rationally, that truth of who you are, that awakening, is more important than anything else. That you'd rather be an awake window washer than a non-awake CEO. Now, it doesn't mean, of course, just as an aside, that one can't be a CEO and awake at the same time. But if my entire mind is occupied with going higher and higher and higher and higher in my career, with making more and more money, with getting more and more popular, with whatever I may be focused on, I'm not focused on God. And then when I sit to meditate, what fills my mind is all of the thoughts of my career, of my social status, of my financial status, of whether my body looks like what I want it to look like or not. And so, of course, there's no room for God. So when I decide that I'd rather be awake, that is what it's all about, because in being awake is when I become free. And that's why we talk about it removing all the obstacles. Because the obstacles are what our mind creates in the bondage of this ignorance that says you are your body, you are your career, you are your bank account, you are those things. That's the obstacle. And the truth frees you from that. So you sit to meditate, but you sit to meditate not as a chore, not as something else to tick off your to-do list, but as close to the way that a drowning man tries to push up for air as you can, with the awareness that this is the key to everything else. And then when you meditate, there's several different techniques, but a very good one specifically for this is the technique of literally saying, I'm not this, I'm not that. It's called neti neti. Not this, not this, not that. I'm not my clothes. I'm not my skin. I'm not my blood. I'm not my bones. I mean, one by one, layer by layer, going deeper and deeper. Saying it and believing it. Don't just do it as an intellectual exercise. Don't go on to the next layer till you believe this layer. You're going to go through them one by one. Well, I know I'm not my blood because when I get a blood transfusion, who I am hasn't changed. When I donate blood, I haven't lost any of who I am. I know I'm not my organs. Get an organ transplant, I'm still there. And you go slowly, slowly through the whole body, even into the thoughts. I'm not my thoughts. And the reason we know we're not our thoughts is, if you were your thoughts, then in between thoughts, you would cease to exist. And if you ceased to exist, then who would think the next thought? So I'm not any of that. I'm not my emotions. And you go through it, layer by layer by layer by layer by layer. And it's literally like peeling back the layers of an onion until you finally get to a place where there's nothing left to say I'm not. And in that place, if you can sit still and quiet in that space, an experience fills it. A truth fills it. And that's where you're going to find the truth of who you are. But you can do it even with your eyes open as you move through the world. You're feeling frustrated. You're feeling upset. I am not my frustration. I am not my anxiety. I am not my anger. I am not the clothes I'm wearing. I'm not the job I'm doing. Try it on. As you move through the world, it'll get your mind working in the right direction. And then slowly, 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 in a quiet and still moment, you will have an experience. And you'll know, okay. And then, amazingly, a little while later, maybe a few minutes later, maybe a few years later, you'll realize that actually that wasn't really the deepest of the deep, and you'll sink to an even deeper layer. And then you'll think, okay, this. And then you'll keep sinking. And that truth will just keep getting wider and wider and more spacious. And that's the beautiful journey of a spiritual life in a human body.